Can you people just confirm? Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes, sir, it is visible.
That's great. That's great. Can just tell me anyone new person has joined today? Anyone new?
Yes, sir.
I, who is this? Please tell me.
Vaibhav.
Okay, Vaibhav. Vaibhav, actually, we have, yeah, anyone else other than Vaibhav?
Haris Farooq.
Sorry, can you repeat? Harris.
Yes.
Okay, Harris, fine, fine. Harris, you belongs to which place? Can you please tell me?
JNK.
JNK, fine. And what course you're enrolled in there?
Machine learning. Sir, I don't know the full name, but only machine learning.
No. I mean to say that which course you are doing there. I mean, you are from JNK, so
Okay.
you're doing something.
Yes. I am doing MTech from NIT Jalandhar in design engineering.
That's great. Fine, perfectly fine.
Okay, sir.
Other than that, Vaibhav, can you please tell me about you?
Sir, I am from Jalandhar and I am also doing my BTech from NIT Jalandhar.
Okay, fine. But we have at least 10 to 12 participants from NIT Jalandhar only. That's fine, perfectly fine. So, but yesterday we have started, but let me give a brief glimpse what we have done. We haven't covered anything significant. So let me give a brief review and everything in 5 minutes, right? So yesterday, what I told them how to, how the, first of all, the flow of this internship will work, means what things we are going to cover. So let me show you that also so that you can come to know. Give me a second. Yeah, actually, this is the bit of flow of internship. We are going to cover start from Python programming for data science, whatever we require. Python programming for the data science, those things we will be covering in the class. Beside that, we will be working on numeric Python for dealing with arrays. Then we will be working on pandas library, which is basically used for data analytics, right? So pandas will be used for the data analytics. And then very important thing is to understand your data. For that, we will be working on data visualization part, and we will be learning through Seaborn library. We will be working on Matplotlib library. So we will deal how we will discover patterns from the data on the basis of visualization only. Okay, then we will work on different machine learning algorithms, both for regression as well as classification. Then we will understand how to judge that my machine learning algorithm is good or bad. What are those performance matrices? We will cover those. Then what we will do, we will tune our models, means we will try to check, does this model perform better if we change some parameters of it? That is known as hyperparameter tuning. Okay, we'll try to tune our models so that we can get best out of our machine learning model. And once that is done, we will be working on machine learning projects. In fact, the moment machine learning algorithms will be finished, I'll take up a class for only for projects. We'll discuss 2 projects in that class, so that I will give you some projects to work on so that you can start working in parallel with the classes. Okay, because what happens if I give you after everything is over, you stuck somewhere. So what will be happening once the machine learning algorithm part is finished, I'll give you, even data visualization part is finished, I'll start giving you the projects to do. Okay, so that you can learn, and every day you can ask the question to me. We'll put a separate half an hour for only for the doubts. Okay, and this is how you are going to work. We'll be working at least 15 to 20 projects. The maximum you do, maximum will be benefit for you. This is the main thing we studied yesterday, we discussed yesterday. And second thing, what I told them, for this internship, we require a Python platform. We require a Python platform to work on. There are 2 options for the same. Either you can use a code editor like VS Code or Atom, or you can choose any IDE, that is integrated development environment. I repeat once again, either you can use a code editor like VS Code or Atom, and there are many more others, or you can use an IDE like your Jupyter, okay, or your Spider or your PyCharm. Okay, the benefit of using the IDE is definitely much more than using the only code part. First thing is that the IDEs give you flexibility of auto completion. You will understand that what I mean, that you will find the benefit of auto completion means you don't have to write your command incomplete. If you, even if you write few words of that command, and if that command is unique, you just press tab. You just press tab and that command will be automatically completed. Okay, it gives you an option of auto completion. It gives you an option of, better please mute yourself, option of debugging as well. It gives you an option of testing as well. Okay, and for this particular internship, we have chosen Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is again an IDE. So all the features that I discussed, auto completion, debugging, testing, is available in the Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook can be stored, can be installed in isolation only. Is it possible that you install only Jupyter Notebook, but better you install the complete package, which is known as Anaconda Navigator. And how you can do that, I just told them yesterday. Just open your Google. Just open your Google. And the Google, just type Anaconda Navigator. Just type Anaconda Navigator. The moment you type, you will some pages. Go to individual edition. You can see that anaconda.com individual edition. Just click here. The moment you click it, you will see the same thing. Anaconda individual edition for Windows. It is showing for Windows, but it is not mandatory that you only work on Windows. Even if you have a Linux system, the Anaconda Navigator works well on that also. So if you're using Linux system, it works perfectly. No issue with that. Even if it works on the Mac as well. So don't worry about that. It works on all the systems. You can see get additional storage. This is for Windows, this is for Mac, and this is for Linux. So everything facility is there. Doesn't matter. We are not restricted to use only Windows thing. Okay. You can download it. Once you download it, just click, 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 and follow the default instructions, and your Anaconda Navigator will get installed in your system. Once you get it installed in your system, you can search here Anaconda Navigator. It will be installed. It's an app. You click that and ensure that to use Anaconda Navigator properly, you should have minimum of 4 GB of RAM. Otherwise, you are going to suffer. Trust me on this. Okay, you're going to suffer if you don't have at least 4 GB of RAM. I don't think so. You must have any system which has less than 4 GB of RAM. Higher is the better. I repeat, higher is the better. Okay. And once open, this window will pop up. You can see that Anaconda Navigator. Here, different options are there. Beside using only Jupyter Notebook, you have option of PyCharm as well. As I told you, it's again an IDE. You have an option of Spider as well. So you can use Spider as well. You do have an option of using R as well, but we'll be working on Python. So you have to click on this one. You can see Jupyter Notebook. You have to just click on launch and it will get open. Okay. Second way, if you don't want to open the Anaconda Navigator, it's fine, perfectly fine. Close it. You want to quit? Yes, quit. Just type here again, Jupyter. Just type Jupyter. Okay. So again, you can see it's a part of Anaconda distribution only, right? Just click on that. The moment you will click it, it will create a server for you. It will create a server for you, and you can see that the address of that server is localhost:888 Everybody can see my screen properly. Can you please confirm once?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's
Yes,
great.
sir.
Okay, so but intentionally I've kept my video out today because one of my friend told me that my picture was occupying larger portion of the screen. That's why I removed my picture from the screen. So I didn't turn on my camera today intentionally so that you can see the complete screen. Once you open it, okay. Now what is the option? You have two options. One option is that you have already existing notebooks which are available here. For example, we have few existing notebooks which are available here. You can see that we created trial yesterday. So we can just click it. The moment we will click it, it will open a same notebook in the another tab. Okay. Second way is that you want to create a new notebook, new Python notebook. So what do you have to do? You have to click on new. You can see here, it's a new. Click on Python 3. Just click on Python 3. Okay. The moment I click on Python 3, a new window will open and you can see a cell in which you can write your code. Is it fine? All those who have joined today only, but till this point, any doubt, please tell me. By this point, any doubt?
No, sir. No, sir.
Weber and Harris, please. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Fine.
No, sir.
Great, right? Now see how to use that. How to use that? You can directly write code over here. Okay, so for this cell particularly can be configured in different modes. You can see here, it's mentioned code, it's mentioned markdown, it's mentioned RBC convert, it's mentioned coding. If you want to execute a Python code, ensure that your cell falls in the category of code. Ensure that by default it will be in the code only. Don't worry. Okay, ensure that your cell falls in the category of code. But suppose you don't want to treat this cell as a code, you want to treat it as a text, not code. You want to treat it as a text. For example, this is our internship and I want to put a heading. I want to put a heading like welcome to the machine learning internship. So what I will do the code, put on heading here. The moment you click on heading here, see, it's showing it's a level 2 heading. Just click on OK. Fine, perfectly fine. And type, hey, welcome to machine learning internship. Okay, and there are two ways. The once you are done, you have finished the typing, do one thing. You can run it by clicking run here. Can you see that? You can click by running run here. Okay, or there is other option as well. Just click here, just press shift plus enter. Just press shift plus enter and the code will be executed. The moment I press shift plus enter or the moment I press run, even if you don't press shift plus enter, alt plus enter, sorry, control plus enter also works. Let me show you once again. If you have you're on a system, you can try with me. Again, putting a heading. I'm saying exploring Jupyter. Okay, and this time I'm not running plus shift plus enter. I'm pressing control plus enter and see it is executed. Is it okay? Right? The moment you will become expertise, you will become expertise once you are start working on this. Always remember shortcuts. Shortcuts are your savior. Every time you will take your mouse, go back to the cell and click on run. That's not a good practice. Remember the shortcuts. Shift plus enter, control plus enter, you can do. Okay. Even if I go once again and again go here, again put heading, exploring Jupyter, learning basics. This time I'm pressing alt plus enter, again execute. Okay, so all three methods are there: shift plus enter, control plus enter, alt plus enter. You will get that. I hope it is clear. Any doubt, beta? Till this point, anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, this is to put the headings. Now come again. Under this, we now don't want heading, but we want text. This is heading, which is looking like bold something. We don't want bold. We want a smaller text, not bold. Suppose under the heading, I want to write something more text. For example, I want to type, hey, to become expert in example Python, practice regularly. Okay, I don't want it to be heading, right? Just go to the code, and press markdown. Okay, press markdown and run it. I'm pressing shift plus enter. Can you see what is happening? Right now it is not heading. Are you getting my point? Is it fine? I want to write second statement as well. Just be attentive in the class, right? Again, press markdown. You can type further also. For example, third cell I want to put before putting anything else, whatever, happy learning. Okay, again, it's a markdown. I press control plus enter or shift plus enter. It will be there. I hope markdown is clear to everyone. I hope heading is clear to everyone. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Great. But it will be required when you will be building the projects and you will be showing to your project manager. Sometimes you have to present them very well. In that case, there's markdown, there's a your headings becomes very, very, very important for you. Okay. Now again, I am on this cell, right? I want to insert a cell below it. I want to insert a cell below it. There's an option through insert. There is an option through insert. If I click on it, you can see there are shortcuts which are available. Shortcuts which are available. If you want to insert a cell above, press A, and we want to insert the cell below, press B. Or you can directly click here and do. But the moment you practice more, you will get accustomed to this. Okay. So I am inserting a cell below it. So what I am doing, just clicking this cell and pressing B. Pressing B. The moment I press B, a new cell is inserted. If you want to insert a cell above it, press A. Again, is it okay? Is it fine? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Right. Next thing, next very important thing is a raw RBC convert. You can see that there's an option of raw NBC convert. What it does, see, I'm typing a code here, like anything I can write. Suppose this is a code or something which you want to keep it for later on, but you don't want to get it executed, right? One way is to make it a comment. Means whatever code you are typing, make it as a comment. For example, I type a code like A equals to 2. Fine. But I don't want it to get executed. Means I don't want interpreter to convert it into the machine language. Okay. For that purpose, one way is to put a hash here. I put a hash here, right? Even if I run it, nothing is going to happen. Like I run it again. Sorry, I'm in the raw RBC convert, put it as a code for now. And I've made A equals to 2, run it the cell. It's run, but if I check the value of A, it will throw an error because earlier what I've done by putting the hash, I've commented that. So once I do some commentation, my interpreter doesn't translate into the machine language. Okay, so that has been ignored. Whatever written after the comment is ignored. So if I check A, what is A? Then it will throw an error. It will show I don't know what is A, right? So let me run the cell and you can see name A is not defined. Is it okay? Is it fine? Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, one more thing. Let's move ahead. Second way, I put A equals to 2. Okay. I didn't comment it. Okay. It may be a large code, 1500 line, 1600 line or something. You don't want to put a comment on that. Although you can make multi-line comment as well. I'll tell you by using triple quotes. Don't worry about that. Okay. So I'll tell you how to do that. Don't worry about that. But I want to do that. Then I can go to this section, go raw NBC convert. Click on that. And you can run it. Nothing will happen. It is no longer considered as a code. You can see in the code section, whichever we have executed, we can see this line in one, in something. When I have converted any particular cell to the raw RBC convert, this execution statement means whatever in A1, in 2 means cell that has been ignored from this. It is not available here. But in some time, suppose you want, no, I want this to be converted to the code. What do you have to do? Simply, you have to go here and convert it into the code again. Can you see? Immediately this in things appear here. And now if I execute it, it has been executed. Now you can see once it is a code, you can see the cell number. Now the value of A will be displayed. Tell me all these things are clear or not? Code, markdown, raw NBC convert, and heading. Please tell me.
So the
Yes, sir.
number displayed in the square bracket, it is the number of times it is getting executed by us.
Not this cell. Actually, in all it takes, starts from beginning, means suppose we are running a cell first time, any cell. Let me create a new cell. You will understand that. Let me create this. I'm taking this. Okay. See, this thing we executed yesterday, whatever in one is looking. Okay. Now, suppose today I'm going to execute something in this cell. So what happens as Jupyter creates a server for you, the moment you close your server, everything is kills from the RAM. Everything it kills from the RAM. So it doesn't recognize that the commands you have executed have been executed. So you have to re-execute them. Are you getting my point? You have to re-execute them. For example, if it would have been a variable here. If it would have been a variable here, let me show you one thing. Let me create a variable. Take this one example only. Okay. Here you can see it has been a equals to 2 has been executed. Let me save it. Remember the name is untitled 2. You can check it, change it as well. Trial 2. Okay. Rename it. And I'm closing it right now. Closing all the thing. Leave. I'm going here and quitting my server again. Okay. It has been quit. So I'm closing it. Again, opening my server. Okay. And remember the name. Remember was trial 2 IPYNB. I'm opening it again. Okay. You can see this A we have assigned earlier to 2 prior to shutting off the server. Now let's check again. Let me check the value of A. What should happen? Can anybody tell me what will happen? Anybody can tell me what will happen if I try to show the value of A? I just told you the, pardon?
It will show an error? No.
Yeah, it will throw an error. It will throw an error because what has happened, I told you, once you close the server, it forgets what you have done earlier.
We need to rerun the code.
Yes, we need to rerun the code. So I'm running the code. Let's see what happens A with A. Can you see that? Name A is not defined. Is it fine? Okay. And first time execution has been done, then it is indicating 1. Next time any cell, either this cell or other cell will be executed. Next time you call an interpreter, your number will be incremented by 1. Even this will indicate twice. For example, I'm running it again. This one thing that is mentioned inside the n will change to 2. Can you see that? Fine. Even if I delete this, for example, I'm deleting it. Okay. And I'm again running A equals to 3. Can anybody tell me what will be the number here? What will be the number inside the n after the execution?
1.
No, we haven't closed the server yet. Remember, we haven't. Yes, we haven't closed the server yet, right? So let's run it and see the number is 3. It remembers now. You have earlier created, you have earlier called interpreter 2 times. Earlier you have called the interpreter 2 times because you haven't closed your or shut down your server yet. Hope the things are clear. But somebody was asking now, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but great. I hope things are clear. But now sometimes what will happen, understand that thing, that is very, very important for you. Sometimes what will happen, your Jupyter notebook will freeze. Nothing will happen in the code. You'll try to do something, it will freeze. Okay. You may be doubting, sir, how it can be possible. It will happen. Trust me. When you are working on millions and millions rows of data or GBs of data, your Jupyter notebook will freeze for sure. Because your RAM requirement is quite high in that case. If your RAM doesn't support that, trust me, your Jupyter notebook will freeze. Now, how you will come out of that? For that thing, you have to go to the kernel option here. Can you see the kernel? Click on the kernel. Can you see you have an option of interrupting the kernel? Means suppose one instruction is continuously showing I'm executing, but it's taking a lot of time. Click on interrupt. If it can easily interrupt that, it will stop that. But who is your final savior? Who is your final savior is this one. These two things, restart and clear output and restart and run all. Suppose you want to run all the codes, but your server is freezed right now. You are not able to do anything in this particular notebook. Click on restart and run all. You don't want that. You don't want to execute your code. You just want to clear all the outputs. For example, I can see A is equal to 2 here, right? You can see that. So let me clear on restart and clear output. Okay, I'm clearing it. You can see the difference. Restart and clear all outputs. Can you see? These all cells have gone to the unexecuted state again. Is it fine? Second way, kernel restart and run all. Now all cells will execute. Earlier we are not seeing any output. Now it will run the codes as well. Can you see now? Is it fine? Please, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That's
sir.
that's
Yes,
great.
sir.
Beta. That's
Yes,
great.
sir.
Great, beta. Great. Now, suppose, as I told you, it's not possible all the time to keep your system updated as per the requirement of your project. Okay. Sometimes it will happen you are having only 4 GB of RAM or 8 GB of RAM, but you have to work on large amount of data. Even you have a 16 GB of RAM, but you have Core i3 processor, Core i5 processor. It won't do task for you, especially if you're working in the deep learning area. It won't do that. Right? In that scenario, if you have GPUs, your graphic card, which we call it, graphic processing unit, if you do have that, that's wonderful thing for you. But very rarely we people have graphic card. And normally what we employ in our systems, in our laptops and something, these are not that efficient. You can use them. For sure, you can use them, those graphic card, because graphic processing unit are way faster than your CPUs. Trust me on this. Your GPUs are much faster than your CPUs. Have you seen Xbox and PlayStations? They run the game flawlessly because those are designed with GPUs, graphic processing unit. Unfortunately, if your system doesn't have, my system does have. My system configuration is Core i5 processor, 16 GB of RAM. I have SSD as well, graphics card as well. Still, sometimes my system lags. So what is the solution for the same? If your system is lagging, don't worry, we do have a solution, and that too free of cost. What? How can we do that? Simple thing. Go to the Google, okay? And in the Google type, Google Colab Notebook, okay? Google Colab Notebook. What's happening here? Google is providing you a system on the cloud. We are working on the cloud now. Google will be assigning some system resources to us. Even the option of GPU is there. I will tell you how you go there. How can you select the GPUs for you? Okay. So press Google Colab Notebook. Even if you are having a 2 GB system, you can't install Anaconda Navigator. Don't worry. Your work will not be remaining or not lagging. You can always use Google Colab, which is free of cost. Although its paid version is also available if you want to do high level of job. For the beginners, for you are having 6 to 7 months of machine learning experience, don't worry, Google Colab will do good for you. Okay. So here is the thing. Welcome to the Collaboratory Google Research. Click on that. Okay. For example, I'm clicking this. Welcome to Collaboratory. This is the one. Go to the file and open new notebook. It will open a Jupyter notebook for you. Can you see that? It has opened a cell for you, and above at the top, you can see it's untitled 5.ipynb, means interactive Python notebook is available here. It's a notebook. The same thing we were working here. Same thing is available in the cloud right now. But now, before doing anything, go here and click on connect. Before doing anything, click on connect so that Google may assign you hardware resources. Click on connect. Can you see? It showed first of all allocating. Now it is showing connecting. Now it is showing initializing. The moment it show connected, can you see there is an option which is visible now, RAM and disk. Can you people see? There's an option which is ticked as RAM and disk. Please confirm.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now
Yes,
see,
sir.
beta, nearly 12 GB of RAM has been assigned. Just hover over it and you can see they have assigned me 12.69 GB of RAM and 108 GB of storage. That is secondary memory. Okay, so if people are having 4 GB of system, they are not able to run your programs, high-end programs. Don't worry, Google Colab is your savior. And the best part of the Google Colab is that you don't have to install much libraries here. Various libraries are pre-installed here. Various libraries are pre-installed here, especially if you're working with a deep learning, you need to install TensorFlow and PyTorch, which are already installed in that. It takes a lot of, remember when I was learning deep learning for the first time nearly 3 years back, it took me complete 1 day to install TensorFlow because there were no one to guide me up how to install that, and it require lots of requirement as well. But don't worry, this Colab will be your savior. Fun thing, okay? So 12 GB of RAM and 108 GB of space is allocated to me. Now further, I can do further acceleration. Click on this down arrow. Click on view resources. Okay. Once you click on view resources, you can click on change runtime type. Click on change runtime type. The moment you click it, can you see an option? Hardware accelerator. Can you see that? We can see a hardware accelerator. Right now it is none. Okay. But what I can do, I can use GPUs for the same. Click on this. Can you see GPU and TPU? GPU is your graphic processing unit. TPU is your tensor processing unit. I repeat once again, GPU is your graphic processing unit. TPU is your tensor processing unit, which is basically used for the deep learning when you are dealing with the tensors. One dimensional, if you are using data, then your GPU is sufficient. But suppose even GPU is sufficient for the tensors as well. Tensors are basically your 2-dimensional vectors. Okay, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. If you want to work in the deep learning, basically when you want to work on TensorFlow, then you will go for TPU. But most of the Google is even working on the GPU only. So you have to click on GPU. GPU is sufficient, right? So GPU, your execution will become much faster. Especially you need to use GPUs if you are working in the area of images. Images tend to occupy a large amount of space. So if you are working on the GPUs, and GPUs are basically designed to handle the graphics only. If you remember, if you have played games ever, so graphic card basically designed to handle your 2D graphics, 3D graphics as well. Okay. For the images section, GPU works perfectly. Just click on save. See, the moment I click it, it is again changing all the connections, initializing, connected. In this case, one drawback is that your disk size will decrease for sure. RAM will remain same, your disk size will decrease. Can you see that? The disk size has been decreased now. Can you see? Earlier it was 108 GB. Now it has been 73.27 GB. If you see properly. Connected to Python 3 Google Computer Engine GPU. Can you see that? It has been mentioned there. Python 3 Google Computer Engine backend, right? RAM has been same, 12.69 GB. And the disk space they have assigned me is 73.27 GB. Hard disk space has been decreased. Okay, so same thing here as well. This is a cell. This cell can be your code cell or a text cell, depending upon you, how you want to use it. If you want simple, by default, it is a code cell. If you want to create a new text cell or code cell, just click here. Okay, similarly, there's a shortcut as well. There's shortcut as well. Suppose, for example, if you hover over it, it will tell you what is the shortcut. See, if you want to insert a cell below, you have to press Control plus M plus B. There we were pressing only B. Here we have to press Control plus M plus B. If you want to insert a cell above it, instead of B, just place A. So Control plus M plus A. Okay, so in the same thing, you can insert by clicking here, you can insert, or by using the shortcuts Control plus M plus B or Control plus M plus A. You can insert cells above or below. Similarly, if you want to insert the text, just hover over it, click on it, it will insert a text cell. I hope thing is clear. And same thing, but it will run Shift plus Enter, Control plus Enter, it will do for you. Any doubt in this point? Anyone? Please tell me.
No, sir.
Fine. Now I want to check, if I want to check in which directory I am working. So you can just type pwd. Same way we were writing on the Jupyter notebook, same thing I am writing here, pwd. Now to run this cell, either you can click on this icon, it will do for you, or you can press Shift plus Enter. So it's showing me I'm inside the content. Now understand very much important thing, which are very, very crucial when especially you are working. If you're working on a Jupyter notebook at your own system, it's fine. Data is inside your local system. But if you are working on the cloud, in that scenario, data is not with you. Data is in your local system and you're working on the cloud. So you have to push the data to the cloud. So how can we push that? There are two ways for that. You have to push your data onto the cloud two ways. Understand that thing. How we can do. So I am inserting the cell here. By how I am inserting, I'm just doing Control M plus B. Okay. I didn't click on the code. I just press Control M plus B. So a cell is inserted below it. Okay. So for that, suppose I want to upload any file here where the content directory is here. Okay. So what I can do, I will type the command. Remember the command, if you can type it. You can type it as well from google.colab. From google.colab, import files. First line you will type. From google.colab, import files. Okay. After that, type files dot upload. Files dot upload, like this. Okay. So I repeat once again what you will do. You will type the command from google.colab, import files. After that, you can type files.upload in the another section also. They're not necessary in the same cell. You can type files.upload in the next cell as well. Okay. So type files.upload and you can run this cell. I'm pressing Shift plus Enter. See, immediately it asks me to choose files. Can you see that? Immediately it asks me to choose files. So I'm clicking here. So I can go to my system, local disk F, and I do have a CSV file with me. Let me say, yeah, suppose this is a Titanic file. I'm opening it. Can you see? It has saved that file. It has saved that file in my same content position. I can directly use it. How I will use it? Let's come to there. Okay. For thus reading this file as a CSV file, to read the CSV file, I need a library known as pandas. I'll tell you that thing, everything we are going to cover. But for now, how we can be sure that it has been imported? Let me check that. So I am using a library import pandas and creating an alias for the same as PD. Import pandas as PD. You can easily use pandas as well, but shorter name is PD. That's it. Run this cell. Okay. After running this cell, insert a cell below. You can either write a code in below it also, doesn't matter. So Control plus M plus B, I press. Sorry, what happened? Some problem is there. Just a second. Okay, I run the same cell again, I guess. What happened? Let me close it. Okay, so I'm inserting cell again. Control plus M plus B. Again, seems some problem is there. What happened? Control M plus showing some error. I think there is some connectivity issue or something. What happening it? Don't worry, we'll doing that again. So again, I'm using it. Okay. So what I've done, I've taken import pandas as PD. Okay. I just run this cell. It has been run. Fine. So Control plus M plus B. Again, why it is showing? Either I'm doing some mistake in pressing something. Don't worry, I'm doing it again. Import pandas as PD. I'm running this cell. For now, I'm just clicking it. I don't know what's problem. There is some problem in my typing or something. Okay. A pandas as PD. Now I'm reading this file. Okay. How I'm reading? See, I'm typing PD dot read underscore CSV. Okay. In this bracket, that was a CSV file. That's I put read underscore CSV. If it would have been Excel file, I would have typed read underscore Excel. Okay. So what was the file name? It was Titanic dot CSV file. Okay. So I'm running it. It has been read. Now you want to see where it is. So I'm going here. I'm typing df dot head. If you're not able to understand these commands, don't worry at all. Don't worry. These things we are going to cover. I'm just showing it to you so that you can understand that we can upload things onto your system as well. Okay.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, while writing the file name like this, here we have written titanic.csv.
Yeah.
When we will work on our Jupyter, then we will provide the full path or simple file name. It will
No,
automatically work.
actually, if it is in the same directory as yours Jupyter is, I repeat once again, let me tell you.
Okay.
Suppose this is my file. Okay. So here I'm using pwd, type pwd. Okay. So C uses del. Fine. If I'm
Okay.
placing my file in the same location as it is, I don't need to provide full path.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Let me show you that. Don't worry. Let me take a CSV file, same CSV file. It was here. It was in data train. Titanic here. I'm copying it. Remember, it was C users del, right?
Yes.
I'm just pasting it here. It has been pasted. Now see, I don't have to provide the full path. I'm using again import pandas spd. Okay, let it run. Once done, I'm using df equals to pd dot read.
CS
Yeah.
underscore CS.
See, this is the beauty of your Jupyter. I told you now
Okay.
the benefit of IDE, auto completion. Remember auto completion? It is
Yes.
showing me here read underscore CS. Okay, just put the file path name, for not path, just file name, Titanic dot CSV. Okay, that's it, and run it. Done. In case it is in the different directory, you have to provide the complete path. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is my advice. If you are working, you want your system to be fast, means your code to be fast, execute fast, better place them in the same directory. Otherwise, path becomes longer. It sometimes take longer time to execute. Okay, so better place in the same directory. That's not mandatory, but it's an advice. It will run faster. Okay,
sir.
fine. So we are here. So let me check it. The first 5 rows of the data that we have entered here. Can you see that? Yes, data is there. Please tell me, is it fine?
Sure.
Right. So data has been uploaded there. Let me repeat once again. How will we do that? We will type from google.colab import files. If you want to write down these things anywhere, you can write down. I'll provide you video as well. But if you can write it, that's very good. Okay. Import files. Then after that, press files dot upload. Is it okay? Files dot upload. The moment I will run the cell, it will ask me the file to get uploaded there. I can choose a file here and upload there. Is it fine? In the same directory where my Colab is running. Is it okay? Let me choose a file again. Another file, let me take. Suppose concrete data I am taking. Let it be. This time it is Excel file, doesn't matter, but it has been saved. Tell me, any doubt till this point, please, anyone? Anyone, any doubt? Even 1% doubt is there, you can ask me.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please carry on.
If the file is not in CSV format, it is
Don't
in
worry,
other
don't worry.
format, then what we have to do?
No. Yeah, if you have a CSV file, you can use CSV file. Even you can work with the SQL database. You can work with the Excel file. There are different options are there. If you see here, let me come here, and it will show same thing. pd dot read underscore. Just I'm pressing underscore and pressing tab. Can you see the different options it can support? It can be a clipboard file. It can be a CSV file. It can be an Excel file. It can be a feather file, FWF. There are different formats. HTML file, JSON, JavaScript object notation file, ORC file, Packwit file, Pickle file, even SES file, SPSS file, SQL file, even SQL query, SQL table. Can you see that? These different options your pandas library will support. Because it is not mandatory that your data set will always be in the Excel format. It is not going to happen for sure. Your data format may be in different formats available. So these are the options which are available in the pandas library which you can import. I hope it clarifies your query.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, welcome. Anytime. Anytime. Hope it is clear to everyone. Till this point, but any doubt, please ask me. Even single doubt if somebody is having. If no doubt, just say yes. At least say it is clear.
Yes, sir. It is clear.
Great, great. Everyone, if somebody have doubt, you can point out. Fine, but great. So I am doing 1 second. This is one option of uploading. Second way is that suppose you have a data somewhere in your Google Drive. Okay, it may be possible. You have a data on the Google Drive. Second option is there. Okay, you may want to put your data set on the Google Drive so that whenever you are visiting from one place to another, you want to use that data. You are putting your data on the Google Drive. So what you will do? You have to mount your Google Drive on the same system. Have you people ever installed Windows on your system without using USB drive? Anyone? Please tell me. Have you ever installed Windows on your system without using your USB drive or your CD drive? Anyone? Okay. Do you people have idea of ISO files, .iso files?
Yes, sir.
You have that. Great, great. That's the prime requirement to understand. But earlier in our time, I remember when I was in BTech, we used to play games. Okay. And some games have requirement that CD should always be put on there. If CD is not in your CD drive, those games will never run. So what we used to do, we create the ISO images of those CDs and mount those ISO files so that it appears to my system that they have a CD drive in which the CD is connected. Hope I'm making things clear. Please tell me. Let me show you the demo of that. If I do have an ISO file, I'm not sure I have a ISO file or not. Let me check. E drive, all softwares. I doubt I have. Yeah, I have a disk image file here. Okay. Before that, see here, it is the local disk C, D, E, and F. Okay. Here, what I am doing, I'm just clicking here and I'm pressing. You can see an option there, mount. Can you see that option? The option is
Yes.
mount. Let me click it. Can you see what it is showing? Immediately DVD drive D comes here. Okay, so it is making my system feel that I have a DVD drive. I don't have a DVD drive, and that DVD drive has some things inside it, which is these. Right? This is happening. All thing happening virtually. Same thing. You are running Colab on one particular system. Right? That is a system. Like my laptop, there is a system. You have to pretend your drive as it has been a drive on their system. You have to mount that. Okay, so how will we do that? Same way you can eject it. Right click. You can see eject option is there. Can you see that eject option? I'm clicking eject and it has gone. Now I can show you that it's not available here. You can only C, D, E, and F. I hope things are clear. Right? Same way, if you want to use your Google Drive here, what you have to do, see, from Google.Colab, import Google.Colab, import drive. Okay, Google.Colab, import drive. First thing, then drive.mount. These, whatever I'm writing in the next line, you can write in the next cell as well. Okay, doesn't matter. You are, it's not mandatory to type in the same cell. Okay, just to save the space, I'm doing that. Drive.mount space, put quotes. First, where it was, remember our PWD was content. I can check it here again. If I remember, I can do that. Let me show PWD again. Can you see? The content is this. So I'm typing here content slash G drive. Content slash G drive. Okay. Let me run it. Let me run the cell. See, it is asking me for an authorization code. Of course, it will ask me. Okay. So what I have to do, I have to click on this URL, which is visible here. Okay. I have to click on this URL, which is visible here. So I'm clicking on open in new tab. Okay. It is asking me to select a username. So I'm selecting here. Although I'm already logged in on this system and I've used the Google Colab earlier, it will not ask for the password. But in your case, it will ask you for the password. It will directly take me to the authorization code. It is asking me to sign in. Don't worry. Click on sign in. See, it didn't ask me for the code. Means what code? Your password. And it is giving me directly the authorization code. So I'm clicking here. Copy. It has been copied now. Okay. And I'm going back to my Jupyter notebook. It is here. Click here and press Control V. Okay. And enter. See, mounted add content G drive. Can you see that? It has been mounted now. It has been mounted now. Now I can access my Google Drive from Colab. Remember the command from google.colab import drive, drive.mount content slash G drive. Same thing you have to use in your code. And remember the process. I'm repeating once again from google.colab import drive, then drive.mount double quotes slash content slash G drive. Now, from where it will fetch your data to understand that thing, I'm going to my drive now. Let me open Google here. Let me open my drive. So what it will do, it will fetch the data from your My Drive folder. From the My Drive folder, suppose I created a new folder here in the My Drive. Okay, I'm clicking a new folder. Suppose there is a folder known as sample data set. Can you see that? There's a folder known as sample data set and within My Drive. Okay, and within that there is a file known as hrdata.csv. Okay. Within My Drive, I repeat once again, within the My Drive, there is a folder known as sample data set. And within that, I have a file known as hrdata.csv. So remember the path, My Drive, sample data set, hrdata.csv. I repeat, My Drive, see the exact capitalization means it is capital or small, My Drive, sample space data set, all small, hrdata.csv. This is the path where this file is located. So I'm going back again to my Colab. Okay. And I'm typing again same import. I think pandas we have already imported. So no need of that. I think we are working in the same library. Yeah. Pandas, no need to import it again. I am creating another df2 is equal to pd dot read underscore csv file. Now remember the path. Remember path. First of all, path is what? Above, which is mentioned here, content and G drive. Mention same content slash G drive again slash now where My Drive. So capital My space drive again slash which folder? Sample data folder. Sample space data folder. Now to my file. What is my file name? Remember hr data.csv. Okay, content G drive, same from there, slash My Drive slash sample data slash hrdata.csv. So I'm running this cell. Oops, it's showing some error. What's the error here? Understand the thing. File not found error. I think we made some mistake here. Let's check it. Either in
no space between the My and Drive.
let me check better. We are making some, no, there is a space. sample data set, hr-data.csv, everything is perfect. My drive, what's the problem here? In this, is there any problem? What code is here? Slash.
Sample data set.
Sir, you have written sample data.
Okay,
It should
okay,
be set.
fine. Yeah, sample data set. Yes, now it's run it. Thanks, Peter. Thanks for the information. Let's run it. Yeah, it has been executed perfectly. Okay, so I'm checking again. TF2, first 5 rows of the data set dot head, and it is here. Let's run the cell and let's see data is there or not. You can see the data is there. Okay, both the method you should know. Both the methods you should know, because it may be possible sometimes you don't have your laptop available, but you have to work on some data set or something. So you can't just say I don't have my laptop nowadays, because everything is available in the cloud. The best part of the cloud is that you don't have to look after the maintenance. The experts are looking after for the maintenance. That is the best part, and that's why everyone is switching to the cloud thing only. But tell me, in both the methods, any doubt?
Sir, could you please repeat the first step?
Sure,
Because
sure.
not DF2, but before DF2 means from to,
This one from Google.Colab.
yes, sir, means
Okay. Yeah, fine. You
before
mean
DF2.
before DF, don't worry. Actually, what we have to do, first of all, we have to mount our drive. Drive is what? But a drive is nothing but, what is a drive? Drive means some portion of a storage space is being assigned to us. Okay, some storage space is being assigned to us in the form of drive. It may be SSD or it may be your conventional hard disk, which are the magnetic disks. We don't know, but some space has been assigned to us, and some other space is assigned to us in the form of this RAM, disk, and some GPUs. Okay, some GPU you can mention here. This is on some another system. Our hard disk is on another system. Sorry, our Google Drive is on another system, and this particular resources which has been assigned to us is on another system. We want to make feel this system, these hardware resources which has been assigned to us, that my drive is part of their system only. My drive, my Google Drive is a part of their system only. In that scenario, what we have to do, we have to mount our Google Drive on the same system. The way I did my ISO file on my system, I'm doing my Google Drive on the same system, which resources have been assigned to me by the Google in this form of RAM, disk, and GPUs. Is it clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I did, I just used the command from google.colab import drive. Okay, google.colab import drive, because I have to work on the drive. Then what I have to mount? I have to mount this drive. And which drive I have to mount? I have to mount Google Drive. So I mentioned the command drive.mount. Drive.mount brackets. You can put double quotes, because my current working directory is content/content. I told you yesterday, just before some time as well. So /content/G drive, because you're using Google Drive, just press this. The moment you will press it, it will ask for the authorization code. You have to click on the link which was mentioned there, and it will ask you your username and password. Click there, it will take you to a code. Let me wait. It will take you a code. Enter that code and your file will be mounted, your drive will be mounted. Once it is mounted, you have to put your data somewhere on your My Drive. You have to put your data somewhere on your My Drive folder. So you can create a new folder here in the My Drive, put your data set there, and know the path of that. For example, my data set was inside the My Drive, and under the My Drive, it was sample data set and HR data set. So remember the path, My Drive /sample data set /HR data.csv. Just remember the exact path, and that path needs to be entered in this file. Is it okay, beta? Please
Okay,
tell me.
sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
I'm sharing something with you regarding this so that you can read in your free time. It will take 2 minutes only. There is a blog. There is a blog by someone. This blog, how to import and export data sets in Google Colab. Same methodology is there. Okay, so I'm pasting its link on Zoom in the chat section. Okay, please confirm everyone has received. Please check your chat sections in the chat window. There is a chat window which is available, a sort of message section which is visible in the Google Zoom.
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah, please keep it in your browser and save it, mark it as a bookmark. Because sometimes it may be possible that you may forget the command. But if it is in your bookmark, you can at least go there. But it's almost impossible to remember all the commands every time. Who is the good smart programmer who knows how it happens? The moment you know how it happens, go there, grab it and use it. It's almost impossible to remember all the commands all the time. But if you know, yes, it is possible, and I've studied it, I'm forgetting the command, just go to the bookmark and take it. The way, see, I've done that. I've also made that bookmark. All the important things I do, I make bookmarks of the same. I have other bookmarks as well. If you want to dive more deeper into that Google Colab, one more bookmark is there, 10 tricks for a better Colab experience. For now, you need to know just basics. Later on, you will become expert yourself. Don't worry about that. I've tell you everything about the basics. Don't worry. I've shared you the second link as well. Then today's session, if anybody is having any doubt, please tell me. These were very, very important things need to be known by every one of you. Very, very important. Because I have met the people who say, I know machine learning, I know deep learning. When I ask them, have you used GPU? Say, no, I don't have an idea about GPU, how to use that. My system doesn't support GPU, I can't use that. So you can say, we do have an option. Google Colab is there. Even Google Colab is not the only option. Trust me, Microsoft Azure is also an option. Microsoft is offering Azure as an option. You can do that. Google Cloud is also offering a, beside using Colab, you can use cloud as well. Other options are there. Even there are system, means there are the companies who are offering only almost supercomputers on the rent. Let me show you that. It may be possible you may work in an industry where people may ask you, we need a high-end system, super high-end system, but we can't buy that. We need on rent. So see, we can say high-end systems for deep learning on a rental basis. There are companies on cloud. Sorry, I just type loud. But these are expensive actually. For example, choosing a deep learning infrastructure, there are companies which are available. Or let's wait a second. Systems on rent on cloud. Again, I'm doing some mistake here. There are different, various service providers are there. You can see here cloud rental system alternatives which are available. Different are there. Because I have worked on a project and we took up a system which was having, can't you imagine, it was having 320 GB of RAM. 300, I repeat once again, 300, I'm typing here, the system I took, it was on 320 GB of RAM, only RAM, okay, and 400 GB of GPUs. And that too at the speed of 10 gigahertz. If you check my system, it runs only at 2.3 gigahertz. It is at 10 gigahertz. And we took it for 10,000 rupees. It was barely for 10 days, but the project was very much mandatory to do because it was giving a big benefit. That project was worth around 5 lakh rupees. So spending 10,000 is not a big amount. We could easily do that. But for 10 days, we paid around 10,000 rupees and we will be able to do that. So never ever think resources are not there. Resources are there. If you are working for a company, your company will provide you all the funds which are needed. But you should know all the alternatives which are available. Is it fine?
Okay, sir.
Okay, never ever feel I'm lack of resources, I don't have resources. Abundance amount of resources are available. So any doubt anyone is having in today's session, please let me know. Let me ask everyone, any doubt so far? Anyone? Beta? Amal Krishna? Any doubt? Someone 1881A0. It's clear. Great. Abhishek, Amal, Amulya, Bhanu, Bhavya, Harris, Harsh, Narayan, Om Bhagyesh, 1 plus 70, I don't know. Ramapati, Revant, Rohit, Shivam, Tanu, Vaibhav. Those who have joined especially today. Any doubt? Please tell me. Especially those who have joined today. Any doubt? Vaibhav and Harris.
No.
Great, fine. So, okay, beta, we are ending the today's session. I hope it was fruitful for you.
Yes, sir.
That is the thing. Okay.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah, please. Okay, beta. So see you. I will post today's video recording. Don't worry about that thing. Okay, I'll give you today's video recording because we discussed a lot of technicalities. So you need to see them again and again. That's not a problem. But hope practice today itself. Don't linger it for tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll forget for sure. Is it fine?
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah,
Definitely,
please.
sir.
If
Sir,
you,
I
if
have
you,
not got a classroom code, sir.
no, actually,
So
we haven't given to anyone classroom code. Don't worry, we'll give that. Actually, we haven't shared anything yet.
Okay, sir.
That's why the code hasn't been given. If you give me 10 more minutes, can I take 10 more minutes for you?
Okay, sir.
Everyone, is it fine if you take 10 minutes more? Hope you are available for the next 10 minutes. Everyone, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. I want to actually discuss about the brief thing so that tomorrow we can start our Python programming journey. Okay, so before going that, let me tell you something about, there is a big buzzword, right? Somebody are confused. What is machine learning? What is deep learning? What is data science? What is AI and everything? So let me clarify all these things so that you don't have any doubt about the same. Okay, so what is AI? If somebody asks you, just a second, if somebody asks you AI, can anybody tell me what do you understand by an AI? Anyone, please? Anyone? What do you understand by AI? That means artificial intelligence. For me, what is artificial intelligence? It is nothing but simulating human intelligence. I repeat once again, simulating human intelligent processes in a system. Simulating human intelligence processes in a system. That is nothing but artificial intelligence. Is it fine? Simulating human intelligence processes in a system is nothing but AI. Means humans have a great capability to find the patterns, to learn from past behaviors. They have great tendency of the same. For example, first time you boil the milk, first time ever. Okay, you don't have idea that milk is hot. The first time you are boiling it, the first time you touch it by bare hands, will you do that mistake second time? Of course, you won't do that. Of course, you won't do that. If you're traveling on a road, okay, and suddenly you found a big broken piece of road there, and you collided almost in that patch, will you ever do that mistake again? You will be 100% cautious. This road is having some patch of bad construction there. I have to be cautious. Easily you identify what is apple. You are able to distinguish between orange. You are able to distinguish between banana and everything. You have a great tendency of finding patterns. Okay, if we can somehow incorporate same intelligence inside the machines, somehow we can incorporate same intelligence inside the machines. This is nothing but artificial intelligence. Okay, and within the AI, what we do for the incorporating that intelligence into the machines, you need to learn machine learning. So machine learning is an integrated part of AI. What is machine learning? I'll come to that, but briefly, what is machine learning? Machines are learning itself from the data. You are not putting rules for them. You are not putting any rules. For example, in the normal programming language, what happens? What happens in the normal programming language? Remember, anyone? Let me see just a second if there is an option of more. I want to see a blank sheet if it is there. Can't see. Okay, if I can write on the screen. You can see my screen now properly. Anyone? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See,
Yes, sir.
what happens in the normal cases? Remember what happens? Suppose this is your system. Okay, this is your system. You put your data here and you put rules here. You put some rules in the normal programming language. And according to those rules, you want to classify your data. So first of all, what do? You write certain rules. You write yourself rules. For example, data is A. You are asking a human to enter his age or her age. Now you define a rule. If age is greater than or equal to 18, mark him as adult. Okay. Else, what you can say, not adult, anything. So what I just did, I defined a rule here manually. I defined a rule here. What I did, I defined a rule here manually. This is what we done in the normal programming. But in machine learning, these rules will not be defined. Let the machine learn these rules by themselves. You are not going to explicitly program machines. You are not going to program the rules in them. Let the machines learn the rules by data itself. They will automatically learn from data. That is machine learning. They will learn the rules from the data. Means what you will do? You will take your system. Okay. You will take the data here. And for this corresponding data, what should be the output? You will tell them. Okay, for corresponding data, what should be the output? So your machine system will learn for this data, this output, for this data, this output, for this data, this output. So automatically they will learn the rules. You are not writing the rules like this. They will learn the rules by themselves. Once they learn the rules, we say that my machine learning model is trained. My machine learning model is trained. Once it has learned the rule from the data or from the history, now you can put a new data here, which machine doesn't know earlier. He has learned the rules from past data. He's learned the rules from the past data. And once it has learned the rules, we say that my machine is trained. My machine learning algorithm is trained. Now put your new data. It will be able to give you correct output. What should be the correct output for your data? This is how your machine learning is different from traditional programming languages. In traditional programming languages, we define rules. In machine learning, we don't define rules. We give machine the past experience, means past data or past data set. Or from that data set, my machine automatically learns the rules. Is it clear? Please tell me how it is different from
Yes,
your
sir.
everyone. Please tell me. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is the biggest thing. Okay. Underside the machine learning, there is again one sub branch which is known as deep learning. Same thing happens with the deep learning. Only issue is that in case of deep learning, in case of machine learning, normal machine learning, we use our statistical or machine learning algorithms like your, if you have heard about linear regression, logistic regression, naive Bayes and something like that. But in case of deep learning, we take the help of artificial neural networks. We rather call this neural networks. We'll take the help of neurons, artificial neurons. So neurons will learn these models in case of deep learning. Okay, so same thing is happening. My immune system is learning from the past data, all the rules. Same thing is happening in the deep learning. Only how they are learning, they're taking the help of neurons. Okay, this is about AI. Now we talk about the data scientist. Data scientist has a broader domain. Data scientist has a broader domain. In spite of only knowing what is inside AI, means he should know AI. He should know, if I'm talking about AI, means covers everything. Deep learning, machine learning means he should have a knowledge of deep learning. He should have knowledge of machine learning. Beside that, he should have the capability to process the data. He should have the capability to extract the data from the data sources, because your data may be in your OLTP databases, like your SQL databases, or non-relational databases, or it can be CSV file into your local system. So your data scientist should be capable of extracting that data, first of all. Then after extracting the data, he should be capable to clean that data, because sometimes your data is not in the format so that it can be directly used. So you have to clean that data. He should have the capability to explore the data. Explore means understand, find the patterns inside the data. What is happening, which of the attribute of the data is important for me. So he should be able to explore that data. He should be able to explore that data, right? So everything related to data. He should be capable of doing feature engineering, means doing some kind of manipulation on the data, some kind of processing on the data. For example, it may be possible, the thing suitable for me is to add the 2 columns, or subtract 2 columns, or to divide 2 columns. So he should be smart enough to understand what is important for me, what is not important for me. So I repeat once again, data scientists should have broader knowledge, means beside everything what comes under the AI, he should have the knowledge of the same, means he should have knowledge machine learning, he should have the knowledge of deep learning, he should know mathematics, he should be accustomed to domain knowledge as well. Domain knowledge means in which field you are working. He should be familiar with the same thing. Suppose I have worked on the HR data, and if somebody gives me the data of an hospital, how will I manage? I won't be able to do that. That is known as domain knowledge. I'm working in a HR and HR data is coming to me, I'll say I have a domain knowledge. Okay, so domain knowledge he should have. He should have a programming skills as well. And beside, very much important, he should have the data processing capabilities, means extract the data, extract that data, from that data, clean the data, which is data, if it is not in good shape, please clean that data. After cleaning the data, explore the data, understand what is important for you, what is not important for you. Explore, right? Again, do some kind of manipulation on that data, do some feature engineering. All these things should be known by a data science. That's why if you have seen the courses of data science, they are normally 6 to 7 months old, because they require a lot of things to be done. Okay, so if you want to become an AI engineer or you want to become a data science, machine learning is very much important for you. And I think that is clear to everyone, right or wrong? Clear what is AI, what is machine learning? But tell me, terms are clear or not with everyone? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
AI is clear?
Yes, sir.
Machine learning is clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Deep learning is clear? Deep learning, what we do in the deep learning, same thing what we do in the machine learning, only the process is changed. What we use neural networks.
Sir,
That's it. Yeah,
hello?
please.
Sir, how does the machine know about the rules in machine learning?
I'll tell you, don't worry, I'll tell you. It's very easy how it tells. Suppose example, take an example. You understand? Suppose I have a column here. Okay, this is input and this is output. Means this input data, this is input data, this is output data. Okay, and I have some past experience. Suppose I put 2, I put it here 4, I put 3, I put 9, I put 4, I put 16, I put 5, I put 25. Can you identify the relationship between input and output or not?
Square of a number.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes, right. You are able to identify the same way machines looks for the patterns. What is the pattern? Is it fine?
Okay, sir.
They
Thanks.
look for the patterns.
Pattern.
But same thing, understand there's one drawback of the machine learning as well. Let me clear you that. Suppose this is an input and again this is an output. Okay, I put 1 to be 1, perfectly fine. I put 2 to be 4. Okay, only 2 data set. I put 1 to be 1, 2 to be 4. Can you comment what is the machine learning model? just a second. I'm giving only one data. Let remove this one. I'm giving only one data, for example. Can you make any comment on the same?
So there may be multiple patterns. Maybe
Yes.
stat. It may be
Yes, yes. It may be multiplication, right or wrong? It may be multiplication, means it is possible you are multiplying 2 by 2. Or it may be possible you are doing a square of the same. So two different things are possible or not, right? So what is better?
Yes.
If I clearly specify, instead of taking only one data point, if I put another data point, 3, 9, can you clarify now what is happening?
This is scaring.
Yes, it's squaring 4, 16. Now at least you can understand what is the pattern among them. So for the machine learning model to understand properly, we require large number of data instances. The larger is your data set, better your machine learning algorithm is going to learn. I hope things are clear. The larger your data points area means larger data set you are having for the training, better your machine learning algorithm will learn. For a smaller data set, you're going to suffer for sure. Any doubt? Please tell me, everyone. Is it okay? Please tell me, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, beta.
Yes,
sir.
So yeah,
Yes.
please tell me.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir,
Sir, does the machines learn or understand only from patterns?
Pardon? Pardon, beta?
Does the machines learn or understand only from patterns or anything else?
No. Actually, thing is that your data may be of different sort. Example, understand. Your data may be like this. What I've mentioned here. This is the simplest case. I've taken only one column, one input. There may be thousands of columns in your data set. Thousands of columns. Okay. From that, they will find some relationship. Remember, they are trying to extract some kind of relationship between input and output. This is what machine learning is trying to do. Finding out some kind of relationship. For example, in this case, the relationship has been found out. What is the relationship? Relationship is nothing but output is nothing but square of input. Right? In some cases, suppose you have two inputs, A and B. So in some cases, relationship may be where output is nothing but A plus some slope and B. Okay. So what machine learning algorithm tries to find out? It tries to find out relationships between input and output. Okay, so it may be a single column, it may be multiple column. For example, in this case, we have taken 2. It may be complex relationship also. For example, it may be A plus B square, A plus MB square plus C or something. Suppose another constant we are taking Z C square. Okay, at the same time, this is a simple data set. The data set may be your images. Your data set may be your audio files. Your data set may be your text format as well. For example, sentiment analysis. Is it fine? So we have to find out the patterns on the basis of what? Basis of relationships between input and output. We try to find out what is the relationship between input and output. And once we are sure what is the relationship between input and output, you will be 100% sure you will be easily able to find out the patterns. Is it fine?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, beta. But just a second, beta. Is it
Sir.
clear, beta? The person who asked?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please, beta. Carry on.
Sir, if I want to see a real life example, then it is like same that Israel's Iron Dome neutralizing the rockets from Gaza. They determine trajectory and fire up rockets to neutralize them.
Beta,
So this is all.
everywhere it is there. You know spam filtering? I told, if you were there yesterday, I told you spam filtering in your email. Do you see emails? If you see the emails, what actually they work, they look for certain words like free, lottery, amazing. Example, I'm just taking an example. They try to search for these words. Are these words available in the sentence, or these words are occurring frequently or not? Yeah, lucky. These machine learning algorithms automatically search for these words. Free is available, means free is occurring so many times. Lottery is coming so many times. Money is coming example so many times. Lucky is coming so many times. And if this is happening, they tend to put those emails inside the spam. Is it fine?
Yes, sir. But sir, if someone genuinely sends a right mail, but it goes into the spam, then
It
this will.
happens, but it happens. This is how the machine, it is not the case. Means suppose you have built a machine learning system itself. You cannot guarantee after 15 days, it is going to perform as good as it was doing earlier 10 days. Because what happens is that with the changing data, your machine learning model performance will degrade. So what the people have done, there is a provision of auto updation. Update your model as per the latest requirements. Automatically, when the new data will enter, they will automatically update the data set. Accordingly, when they're updating the data set, they will retrain their model on the new data set. Do you remember when you go to a spam email? If you are trying to put the spam email into your inbox, they ask, are you sure you want to mark this as spam or not spam, or you want to take it to the inbox? Did the Google ask us or not? Please tell me. Have you used that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So same way they learn. Okay, this mail has been unintentionally I have put in the spam mail. They learn from this. I put in the spam, but it should have been spam. So next time they'll try to rectify that mistake. It's a continuous process. It's a feedback process. Improve, learn, improve, learn, improve, learn, improve, learn. This is the way it works. Is it fine, Beta? It is going to learn from its mistake as well. Hope it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Beta. So for I'm stopping for today. I think everything is clear. Everyone,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah, please.
Sir, can we use this example of mail to example of AI even, sir? Because
Yeah,
we are using specific words like if we use lottery, then it should be a
yes,
spam.
yes, exactly. This is AI. This is AI.
Then
You are mimic. Yeah, please.
how can we differentiate that, sir, as MI or AI, ML or AI?
I told you, ML is a part of AI, Beta. ML is a part of AI. AI is a bigger domain. ML comes inside the AI only. Are you getting my point? AI, for example,
Yes, sir.
you study mathematics, right? Inside the mathematics, you study addition, you study subtraction, right? If somebody says differentiate between mathematics and addition, subtraction, will you be able to do? You will say no. Addition and subtraction are part of mathematics only. Similarly, machine learning is a part of AI. To incorporate means to generate artificial intelligence solution, you have to use machine learning. That's the simple thing. Is it fine, Beta? Is it fine?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So to incorporate artificial intelligence, machine learning will be used. Is it fine? Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm stopping for the day. I hope you like the session, and you can any bit of suggestion, any feedback, please.
Sir, your way of explanation is extraordinary.
But that thanks to God and thanks to you people. If you like it, it's all bit of your love and affection affection of the God and the grace of the God only. If you are able to understand. Thanks a lot, everyone, and have a good day. Okay, I'll share the bit of video recording. Don't worry. Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, sir.
Have a good day.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.